My first kiss, I was a sophomore in high school. I was a sophomore, she was a senior. Citizen, she was my grandma's friend. And we made out. I was a sophomore, she was a senior. We were dating. I knew our relationship wasn't going to work because she didn't realize that I was a sophomore until a month into us dating. A month in, she looks at me and she's like, "You're not a senior?" And I was like, "Uh-oh." Like I just got caught in a lie I didn't know I was telling. Isn't that weird when you think somebody knows you really well and then they act surprised by a fact about you? Like every 2 years growing up, my dad would look at me and be like, "I didn't know you were left-handed." And I'd be like, "Where have you been?" So I'm a sophomore, she's a senior. We go see a movie on our first date as a couple. Neither of us could drive, so both of us had to be dropped off by our parents to go see the movie. Afterwards, we're standing outside waiting for our parents to pick us up. I have my arm around her, just one. I'm not like restraining her, like, "Stay here!" She wanted to be there. I had my arm around her, and I didn't want to kiss her yet, because I still had braces for one more week, and I didn't know how kissing worked. I was afraid if I did it wrong, I'd like rip her lips off or something. But then she turned to me, and she started to lean in for a kiss. And I was like, "Oh, okay, I guess this is..." In my head, I'm not like out loud like, "Oh boy, you sure are close." But we lean in, and we kiss each other, obviously. And then as we were pulling away from our first kiss, I think to myself, wow, this is a big deal. This is my first kiss ever. This is our first kiss as a couple. I should say something right now. I should say something romantic. So I open my mouth and I say, "Well, that takes care of that." Why? That's not romantic. That's like we just mowed the yard together. Just like, "See you later, pal." That was our first kiss. I found out later it was actually her first kiss also. Neither of us had ever kissed before, so obviously neither of us had ever French kissed before. That'd be weird if you did one before the other. Your lips don't touch and your tongue's just slapping it up. Neither of us knew what we were doing. Eventually we did French kiss, and neither of us had any idea what we were doing. You know that tongues are involved, but you're just like, you don't know what they're doing, what's going on in there. It's all behind closed doors. So I didn't know, and I feel like she really didn't know. The first time that we ever French kissed, here is what she did. She opened her mouth very wide. She stuck her tongue out into my mouth. The end. She just left it there. Just like a dead fish on your front porch. And I was sitting there like, I don't think this is right. But she thought that I was into it because my job was then to push her tongue back into her mouth with my tongue. And then she'd go, "Here you go." And I'd go, "No, thank you." And she'd say, "Special delivery." And I'd say, "Return to sender." And we did that for 5 minutes straight. And then as we're pulling away from our first French kiss, I'm very confused. I'm covered in drool. And she looks at me and she says, "We'll work on that." Like I was doing something wrong. It's also crazy to me that she thought that I could be a senior. There is no way that I looked like it. I was a late bloomer. I was the latest of late bloomers. I didn't start my growth spurt until I was a sophomore in high school. So like there's no way that... I was the latest of blue. There was like a lady at my church I grew up at. Every time I would go home to visit, she would come and find me and be like, "Oh, look how big you are. Oh, you remember when you were so small and all the other kids your age were so small and then they all started to get taller and you were still so small." And we thought, is Taylor ever going? She made it sound like there were these secret meetings at the church. where everyone would gather and pray and be like, oh Lord, let puberty fall upon this boy. Fill those pits with hair, Lord. I'm still a late bloomer. I didn't get chest hair until really recently. So excited about it. For the longest time, it was just smooth, just nothing. And then one day out of nowhere, I just got a ton of nipple hair. Just like long, like Miss Piggy's eyelashes, just like. And I was just like, is this all that I'm gonna? And then slowly over time it filled in. Like I'm from Texas, so it was like Dallas and Fort Worth, and then the Metroplex. I wish you guys could see the faces some of you guys made just now.